Hey guys, what's up? It's Tally here and I'm back with another video, this time all about how to support our wrists even more with a few really effective exercises that will really get you thinking about your mobility and hopefully give you some healthier wrists. Because ultimately, as I said in my last video, I'll link it below, it's a whole yoga class all involving a practice that does not involve our wrists at all. And as I said in that video, we can often, especially with silent owl in yoga, we can often end up with a little bit of achiness, a bit of weakness through our wrists, and that is just because we're not exactly used to putting a lot of weight in our wrists. If you think about most other kind of forms of movement or exercise, you run, you cycle, even if you weightlift, you're not really always using the strength just of your wrists, especially not to carry so much load as we do when we do planks or down dogs or arm balances inversions, when a lot of our weight is actually right in our hands. We're really using our wrist joints to really, to carry all that load. So what I would always say, if you have any wrist pain, anything ongoing, even if it's acute, if it's only been going on for a little while, I would definitely recommend you get checked out by a medical professional. But if you want to help support the health of your wrists, let's do a few different exercises and it'll get you thinking, like I said, about your mobility, and it'll really help to support your wrists and you get nice, happy, healthy wrists. So first of all, before we start, I will recommend you have a couple of balls handy. I'm not affiliated with the Yoga TuneUp balls at all, I just love them. So these are kind of lacrosse ball style things. If you've got any stress balls, anything like that, and things are kind of a bit squishy but not too squishy, these will be perfect for this next exercise. Again, I choose I think I use a therapy balls by Yoga TuneUp, and I definitely recommend you get something similar, maybe even a tennis ball, because they have a little bit of give to them when you squeeze on them, but you don't want anything that's going to be rock hard or anything that's going to be too squishy. So if you don't have any balls that are about this kind of size, that'll fit in your palm, have a little bit of give, then don't worry, there's a few exercises in this video that we won't need any balls for, so do not fret. But if you can get hold of some, I would really recommend you do so. And I'll meet you on the mat. So before we get started on the actual exercises, I just wanted to really quickly talk about our active range of motion and our mobility. Because as you can imagine, if we kind of bend our wrist, kind of bring it into flexion at about 90 degrees like that, as we often do, planks, chaturangas, lots of arm balances, inversions, then we don't generally use the strength of the muscles and the soft tissue around the joint. We're just kind of coming beyond our active range of motion. And I think it's really important to get an idea of what this active range of motion, what our mobility is actually like, because we don't often get a chance to really even define that. We can start to identify what our mobility is actually like, what our active range of motion is for us right now. With this really simple exercise, you can bring your forearms to touch, palms connect. Kind of try to keep your arms out in front of you. I know you can't exactly see my face, but I'm still here. Let's start from here then. To keep your wrists connected, your forearms really glued together, and draw your fingers, keeping them straight as far away from each other as you can. So your palms will draw away from each other, but we're keeping our wrists connected. And I like to use me actually as a pretty good example right now, because you can see my right wrist has a lot more range of active motion than my left wrist, which does not have the same ability. And I invite you to see the same for you as well. So maybe it's more like a Y shape that you're creating with your forearms and your hands, like my left wrist is, or maybe you almost approach it T like my right wrist is. And we can be so different on each side, case in point me right now. But just to get an idea of what your mobility and your active range of motion is actually like for your wrists, can be really insightful. Another great way to do this is to almost find a chaturanga in the air. So you can stay seated, bring your elbows in line with your shoulders, bend your elbows to about 90 degrees. Let's bring our palms up first of all, so fingers point up towards the sky. Draw your palms away from you, the backs of your hands should be facing towards you. And then from there, again, just peel your fingers back, keeping your fingers straight, just flexing into the wrists. And you'll notice that maybe you're trying to turn the outside edges of your wrist, your lateral aspect, in a little bit. Try and see if you can keep your wrist level. But yeah, you'll be able to see how your range of motion is compared with, maybe it's on different sides, or at least comparing it with how it would be on the mat, where we can bend, flex our wrists to 90 with a lot more ease. So I think those exercises are just really interesting, really insightful, to give us an idea of the mobility of our wrists as they are. And maybe they are going to be more like 90, or maybe they're going to be a lot less than 90. But it's just worth knowing, so we can really hone in on what is going to support you the most. So this is the part, we're going to start the exercises, and this is the part where we're going to need the balls. So I want you to bring the palms so they face up, keep your elbows bent, shoulders soft, and just all I'm going to invite you to do is squeeze the ball as hard as you can, like you're trying to make a fist with the balls in your palms, and then relax. And again, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax. Try and do that, maybe starting about 50 times, maybe working your way up over time, just re-watching this video, maybe even approaching 100 times if you can. Try and get your thumbs involved as well, to realize you might have been a little bit lazy. So just try and keep that active, that idea of just squeezing, relaxing. And it will surprise you how exhausting that can be. We can also do this without the balls, and by making a fist as tight as you can, squeezing your palms in, and then expand your fingers out wide, as far away from each other as you can. And again, just repeating this as many times, starting off 50 times, maybe over time, working your way up to about 100 times. And again, this is deceptively tricky. It gets really tiring. So yeah, just trying to do both those exercises at least 50 times, working your way up to 100 over the course of the next few weeks. So some other exercises which are great, which don't involve the balls. So giving the balls a rest for a moment, we'll need them in a moo. But it's all about trying to tap your thumb to each finger. So starting off slow, tap your thumb to your index finger, and to your middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. If you've got the coordination, try and do both sides at the same time. But it can be a little bit confusing, kind of like patting your head and rubbing your belly. But again, aiming for at least 20 times on each hand. If you can do both hands at the same time, it'll be a little bit less time consuming. So yeah, just aiming to do that about 20 times. So that'll be 20 times for each finger. And then the next exercise, we are going to use the balls again. Bringing the balls into the palms of your hands. Your palms can face up. Squeeze the ball with all your fingers really in towards your palm, thumbs included. Your palms facing up, your elbows bend, but your shoulders soft. And from here, just try and draw the balls in towards your wrist. So you're kind of flexing your wrist still, and just starting to go from wrist just like in neutral, and then bringing the ball in like this. And see again, if you can manage to do two hands at the same time, it's a little bit less time consuming to do this. Trying to keep your your hands more neutral, if that makes sense. Your wrist may want to come in, or rather you might want to kind of tilt your forearms internally a little bit, but try and keep your wrists, your palms facing up, and then your palms facing in. So let's try and do this again, maybe about 50 times on each side. Again, just doing them both at the same time makes it a little bit quicker. And then once you've done that about 50 times, turning your palms down, you're still holding onto the balls. And this time we're going to bring your palms again in towards you, but palms are going to stay facing down. So kind of doing this kind of movement. Again, just keep at this, keep removing in this way, keep squeezing the ball, don't let it fall, really try and grip it in. we're doing that about 50 times as well. And yeah, once you've done through all those, you're welcome to pause the video to move to those and hit play once you're ready for the next one. But you'll be surprised at how much work is required for these simple movements, at how exhausting it can actually be for the muscles and soft tissue around our wrists, and even into your forearms. So we're now going to do a few stretches. These you may find in a regular vinyasa flow class or something like that, because we'll often move into these more, less in our active range of motion, kind of moving beyond that. But they're really great stretches if you do feel like your wrists are really tight. So let's move into tabletop. And in our tabletop, as always, we'll start with your palms facing down, fingers spread wide, allowing your wrists to be more or less above underneath your shoulders. But if that feels like a lot, just bringing your shoulders back slightly. A great idea in our yoga practice is to allow the wrist creases to face directly forwards. And this will really help to protect us, as well as anchoring down to your index finger knuckle and the base of your thumb. But we're not going to be staying in a regular tabletop. In fact, first of all, let's bring your palms onto the mat still, but bring your fingers so they face in towards your knees. And this may feel, and look, a little bit crazy if you're not used to doing it. If it feels really intense, just doing one hand at a time. And another great thing to do is just bring your hands onto a desk and kind of leaning into it, so it's less of an angle for your wrist, a little bit easier. From here, you can maybe rock forwards and backwards a few times, or even moving through a few cat-cow breaths. Try to keep your fingers pointing backwards, but if you do need to have them slightly outwards, that's okay. Just moving in a way that feels available and okay and good for you, something that's sustainable. A common tendency here is to kind of want to lift up your feet, but really try and keep the tops of your feet anchored down. Now let's turn the backs of your hands onto the mat. So your fingers will still be facing back, but this time your palms will face up towards the sky. Again, maybe right here, you're going to move forwards and back. Trying to draw the back of your thumb joint down as best again as you can. You need to move one hand at a time. That is all good. It's doing what feels right for you in this moment. Just having a little bit of movement, maybe some cat-cow breaths. Anything that feels good for you. You're welcome to linger in any of these stretches as long as you want, but because they're quite intense, it might not be too long. This time for the last one, bring the backs of your hands on the mat still, but your fingers will point out towards the left and the right. I'm actually just going to turn to face you guys so you can see a little bit easier. So again, fingers turning out to either side, to the long edges of your mat. And this time, maybe you feel better to have a sway, a gentle rock side to side. And this can be really intense for a lot of us, so if you need to do one hand at a time, it is all good. And we're just knowing that all of this does get easier over time. The more often we practice, the easier and the more accessible things become. So slowly releasing from that. Probably is going to feel like heaven right now to roll out your wrists. It definitely does for me right now. You can bring your palms together, interlace your fingers, and just keeping your palms connected. See if you can just do some rolling out, maybe some figure of 8, so any movement that feels good for you, just through your hands. Try to keep the movement into your elbows limited. Well, hopefully your hands are feeling happy and healthy now. I'd love to hear how you get on with this video, if you've got any questions or any video requests coming up. And yeah, leave me a comment, hit like, subscribe if you like what I'm doing. And I would love to hear from you guys. So yeah, let me know. Have a beautiful day wherever you are, yogas. Namaste.